There is a program that a significant number of homeowners over 60 have never applied for, and it is sitting quietly inside your local government right now, waiting. It is completely free. It takes about 15 minutes. And for the people who actually use it, it results in savings of $247, $340, even $612 more every single year permanently for the rest of their lives. Before we get into exactly how, subscribe right now and hit the bell. The rules around property tax exemptions change every year. When they change, your county assessor does not send you a personal explanation. Subscribers find out in time. The ones who are not find out after the deadline, after the form closed, after the money is already gone. Stay with me until the end. The program is called the Senior Homestead Exemption, and in most states, it also goes by names like the Property Tax Freeze, the Senior Property Tax Credit, or the Homeowner Exemption for elderly residents. It is free. It lives at your county assessor's website or your local tax authority's office. And if you have never applied, it typically takes about 15 minutes to complete. In some counties, you only have to apply once, and the exemption renews automatically every single year after that. That is the program almost nobody talks about. Here is why this exemption has the potential to permanently reduce your property tax bill. And I want to explain this clearly, because it is the part most people do not understand. When your local government calculates your property tax, they start with the assessed value of your home. That number gets multiplied by the local tax rate to produce your annual bill. What a senior homestead exemption does is reduce the assessed value that the calculation is applied to. So if your home is assessed at $280,000 and your county provides a $50,000 senior exemption, they now tax you as though your home is worth $230,000. That is a real, permanent reduction, not a one-time rebate, not a delayed credit. Every single bill going forward is lower, and most people have no idea this exists. According to the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy and state-level assessor data, a senior homeowner who qualifies for a $50,000 assessed value reduction in a county with a 8% effective property tax rate saves approximately $247 per month. No, let me restate that clearly, approximately $900 per year. In counties with higher tax rates, that number climbs to $1,247 or more annually. Over a 20-year retirement, that is a difference of $18,000 to $24,940 coming directly back into your household. That is not a small adjustment. That is a significant portion of a retirement budget. And the people who are missing it are not missing it because they are careless. They are missing it because no one explained it to them. Here is the part that makes it worse, and this is the layer that almost nobody talks about. Because property values tend to rise over time, your assessed value typically increases year after year. Without the exemption, your tax bill grows with it. But in many states, a properly filed senior homestead exemption does not just reduce today's bill, it also freezes the assessed value at the time of filing, or caps annual increases at a very low percentage. That means the gap between what you pay and what you would have paid without the exemption does not stay flat. It widens every single year as your home's market value continues to climb. So the person who files this year at age 62 is not just saving $900 this year. They are locking in a baseline that stays protected while unprotected neighbors watch their bills grow. 10 years from now, that filing decision is worth considerably more than it was on day one. The compounding effect of a frozen or reduced assessed value over a long retirement is one of the most underused financial tools available to homeowners over 60, and it costs nothing to access. Your county assessor does not find this for you. There is no automatic enrollment, no alert, no letter. The property data goes into the system, the bill gets calculated. And unless you file the exemption yourself, the savings sit there unclaimed for years. Offices are not required to notify eligible homeowners. The information is technically public, but it is buried inside government websites that are not designed to guide you toward the savings. They are designed to collect the tax. No review, no alert, no letter. The system is not your enemy, but it is also not your advocate. You have to step forward yourself. And that is exactly what this video is going to help you do. Homeowners who bought their homes before 2005, property values have increased dramatically since then, which means your assessed value may have grown substantially, and the gap between what you are paying now versus what a senior exemption would lock in is at its widest point. The longer you have owned the home without the exemption, the more years of savings you have missed. Retired homeowners living on a fixed income, when you are no longer earning a salary, every fixed monthly expense matters more. Property taxes do not go down on their own, and for retirees on Social Security, a $600 to $1,200 annual reduction is not a convenience. It can be the difference between financial stability and quiet financial stress month after month. Homeowners who turned 60 recently and never checked, most senior exemptions become available between ages 60 and 65, depending on your state and county. If you recently crossed that threshold and never looked into this, there is a strong possibility your exemption eligibility started months or years ago and you have simply not claimed it yet. Widows and widowers who handled taxes jointly. In many marriages, one spouse manages all government paperwork. When that person passes, the surviving spouse continues to receive bills but may never know what exemptions existed, which ones lapsed, or which new ones they now qualify for as a surviving senior homeowner. This is one of the most common missed exemption situations in the country. People who moved and bought a new home after 60, exemptions do not automatically transfer. If you sold your previous home and purchased a new one in the last several years, your exemption history did not come with you. You must refile at the new address, and many people simply do not know that. Homeowners in high property tax states like Illinois, New Jersey, Texas, or New York, these states have some of the highest effective property tax rates in the nation and also some of the most generous senior exemption programs. The irony is that the people who stand to save the most are often the people least likely to have been told this option exists. Here is a real example of what this looks like. A woman who worked as a school cafeteria employee in suburban Cook County, Illinois throughout the 1990s, retired at 63 and continued living in the same home she had owned since 1991. She had no reason to think anything about her property tax bill was unusual. It came every year, she paid it, and that was that. A neighbor mentioned the senior homestead exemption at a church event in 2019. She had never heard of it. When she called the Cook County Assessor's office and filed the paperwork, her assessed value was reduced, and her annual bill dropped by $143 per year, which worked out to $286 every single quarter for the rest of her life. She had been eligible since turning 65. She had missed 6 years of savings without knowing it, approximately $6.858 that simply never came back. She had no idea that reduction was sitting there unclaimed until she made one phone call. So, here is exactly what to do. Step 1. Find your county assessor's website, open a browser, and search assessor senior exemption or property tax relief over 60. Every county in the United States has a different administering office. Some call it the assessor. Some call it the auditor. Some call it the Department of Revenue. The search will get you to the right place within 1 or 2 clicks. Step 2. Locate the senior exemption application. Once on the site, look specifically for terms like senior homestead exemption, senior freeze exemption, elderly property tax relief, or over 65 exemption. Download or request the correct form for your age group. Many counties now allow online filing directly on the page. Step 3. Confirm your eligibility requirements. Most programs require that you are at least 60 or 65 years of age, that the property is your primary residence, and that you have owned it for a minimum period, often 1 year. Some programs also have income limits, typically between $35,000 and $75,000 adjusted gross income. Check the specific threshold for your county before assuming you do not qualify. Step 4. Gather your documents. You will typically need a government-issued photo ID showing your date of birth, your most recent property tax bill, and proof of primary residence such as a utility bill or voter registration. If an income requirement applies, have last year's federal tax return available. Step 5. Submit your application before the deadline. Most counties have an annual filing deadline that falls between January and April, though some run through July. Submit the completed form either online, by mail, or in person at your assessor's office. The form name varies by state but is commonly called the Senior Exemption Application, or Form P-Tax 324 in Illinois as one example. Step 6. Confirm your exemption appears on the next bill. After filing, verify that the exemption is reflected on your next property tax bill or notice. If it does not appear within the expected cycle, call your assessor's office directly with your confirmation number or application receipt. Insider tip: here is something most people do not know. If you have owned your home for several years and were eligible during prior years but never filed, some counties allow retroactive or back-year exemption claims, sometimes going back 2 to 4 years. It is worth calling your assessor's office and asking directly, do you allow back-year senior exemption claims? The call takes 5 minutes and the answer could recover hundreds of dollars you already earned. Most people spend more time researching a streaming subscription than they have ever spent reviewing the property tax exemptions that determine how much they will pay on their home for the rest of their lives. And every month that passes without checking. The gap does not close on its own, it stays exactly where it is, quietly costing you. The assessed value keeps moving, the tax bill keeps arriving, and the exemption keeps sitting there, unfiled, waiting. This is worth 15 minutes. Go to your county assessor's website, search for the senior exemption that applies to your age group, confirm your eligibility, gather 2 or 3 documents, and submit the form before your county's deadline. That is the whole thing. One filing, permanent savings for the rest of your life. If you are over 60 and you own your home, there is no reason to wait another billing cycle. Subscribe, share this with someone you know who owns a home and is over 60. The 15 minutes they spend today could change every single property tax bill for the rest of their life.